Every legend has an origin story. For Daniel Dumisle, better known as MF Doom, it began in a place far from the villainous mask he would later wear. His roots were in the bustling streets of Long Beach, New York, but his story stretches back even further, to a different continent altogether. Daniel Dumisle was born on July 13, 1971, in Hounslow, London, to a Trinidadian mother and a Zimbabwean father. Though his birthplace was England, his parents raised him in Long Beach, New York, where their influence helped shape his early worldview. In the Dumisle household, music, culture, and history intertwined. His parents, staunch believers in black nationalism, ensured that young Daniel grew up steeped in the teachings of the 5% Nation, a movement deeply rooted in African American identity and empowerment. As a child, Daniel was drawn to the fantastical worlds of comic books. He spent hours poring over the adventures of larger-than-life heroes and villains. These stories, full of complex characters, inspired his imagination and creativity. It was in these pages that the seeds of his alter ego were planted. The name Doom was more than just a nickname derived from his surname. It was a symbol of rebellion, mystery, and power. Daniel's passion for music began early. By the summer after 3rd grade, he was already DJing at local block parties, immersing himself in the rhythm and pulse of the burgeoning hip-hop scene. It was here, amidst the beats and rhymes of New York, that Daniel found his calling. Inspired by the street culture around him, he began crafting rhymes and experimenting with sounds. In 1988, Daniel and his younger brother Dingalizwi, better known as DJ Subrock, formed the rap group KMD. Alongside their friend Onyx the Birthstone Kid, they embraced the golden age of hip-hop with their playful yet thought-provoking style. KMD's debut album, Mr. Hood, released in 1991, was a blend of humor and Afrocentric themes, showcasing Daniel's sharp lyricism and Subrock's innovative production. But tragedy struck before their second album could see the light of day. In 1993, Subrock was killed in a car accident, leaving Daniel devastated. Coupled with the rejection of their controversial album, Black Bastards by Elektra Records, this marked the end of KMD and the beginning of a dark chapter in Daniel's life. After the loss of his brother, Daniel vanished from the hip-hop scene, retreating to the streets of Manhattan. He lived damn near homeless, sleeping on benches and vowing revenge on an industry he felt had betrayed him. It was during this time of reflection and reinvention that the seeds of MF Doom were sown. A villain was born, not out of malice, but out of resilience and determination. From the ashes of tragedy, Daniel Dumisle would rise. Armed with a mask and a new identity, he set out to conquer the world of hip-hop, not as a hero, but as the villain hip-hop never knew it needed. After his brother's tragic death, the industry's betrayal, and years of obscurity, Daniel Dumisle's story could have ended in silence. But beneath the shadows, something stirred. He wasn't just healing, he was transforming. When he returned in the late 1990s, it was not as the man who left, it was as MF Doom, a villain reborn. Daniel began testing his craft again, not as himself but incognito. He wore stockings over his head, delivering bars laced with wit and sharp wordplay. These open mic nights became his sanctuary, a place where the artist was irrelevant and the art spoke volumes. The anonymity wasn't just for the audience's benefit, it was for his survival. Here, he could experiment, refine his rhymes, and embrace a new identity without the weight of his past holding him back. It was here that MF Doom was born. The mask wasn't just an accessory, it was a statement. Inspired by the Marvel Comics villain, Dr. Doom, it symbolized rebellion against an industry obsessed with image. For Daniel, it wasn't about how you looked, it was about what you had to say. The mask represented universality, a rejection of ego. Doom once said, "I could be anyone. Doom is the everyman, the anti-hero of hip-hop." It was both a shield and a bridge, inviting listeners to focus solely on the music. In 1999, MF Doom made his official debut with Operation Doomsday. It wasn't just an album, it was an announcement, a declaration that the villain had arrived. The album was a labyrinth of samples, pulling from cartoons, jazz, and soul records, creating a soundscape that felt otherworldly. Doom's lyrics were intricate and layered, weaving stories, humor, and introspection into a style entirely his own. Though it didn't dominate mainstream charts, Operation Doomsday became an underground classic. cementing Doom as a pioneer in alternative hip-hop. It was raw, unpolished, and deeply personal, the perfect foundation for the legacy he was building. For Doom, one persona wasn't enough. In the early 2000s, he introduced new alter egos, each with its own distinct style and story. First came King Ghidorah, a three-headed alien overlord, and then Victor Vaughn, a time-traveling street hustler. Through King Ghidorah, Doom explored themes of power and alienation, crafting a cinematic sound that felt both grand and intimate. As Victor Vaughn, he embraced the grittier side of his storytelling, delivering razor-sharp rhymes over stripped-down beats. Each persona was more than a pseudonym. It was a lens through which Doom could dissect the world around him. Together, they formed a mythology that blurred the lines between artist and character. In 2004, Doom joined forces with producer Madlib to create Mad Villainy. Recorded in a basement studio known as the Bomb Shelter, the album was a masterpiece of experimentation, pushing the boundaries of hip-hop. Tracks like Accordion and All Caps showcased Doom's surreal wordplay, while Madlib's unconventional production turned traditional hip-hop on its head. Together, they created an album that was both chaotic and cohesive, a perfect reflection of Doom's artistry. Critics hailed Mad Villainy as a groundbreaking work of art. For Doom, it was more than a collaboration. It was a culmination of everything he'd been building since his return. Later that year, Doom released Food, a culinary-themed exploration of his lyrical genius. Tracks like Beef Rap and Rap Snitch Kinches balanced humor with biting social commentary. The album was a feast of wordplay, packed with double entendres and clever metaphors. It wasn't just music, it was storytelling, satire, and poetry rolled into one. But Doom's artistry wasn't without controversy. At live shows, he often sent imposters, dubbed Doombots by fans, to perform in his place. While some saw it as a betrayal, others embraced it as a bold extension of his supervillain persona. Doom defended the decision, saying, "The mask is the star, not the man behind it." It was a provocative reminder that Doom was as much a concept as he was an artist.